This is a production of WKNO Memphis. Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO.
the WKNO Production Fund, the WKNO Endowment Fund, and by viewers like you. Thank you.
My guest today on Sports Files is former Memphis Tigers hoop standout and now professional round baller, DJ Steffens. We have an extremely busy 30 minutes for you this week on Sports Files. Later in the show, we'll take you to a couple of U.S. World Cup soccer watch parties in Memphis, where area soccer fans showed their true red, white, and blue pride. And we'll sit down and talk with one of the most popular players to ever suit up for the Memphis Tigers basketball program, DJ Steffens. But first, the Memphis Grizzlies Summer League team has embarked on Orlando, Florida, where they'll compete in the Orlando Summer League beginning Saturday. The Grizzlies will play 5 games in all. The roster has plenty of local ties with former Memphis Tigers guard Joe Jackson and former Ole Miss Rebels sharpshooter Tarico White on the roster. And all eyes will be fixated on the 2 recent Grizzlies draft picks, Jordan Adams and Jarnell Stokes. Adams, the former UCLA star, was taken by the Grizzlies in the first round, 22nd overall, while the Memphian Stokes, a 3-year inside force at Tennessee, was chosen number 35 overall by the Utah Jazz and dealt to the Grizzlies for a 2016 second-round selection. Recently, the 2 newest members of the Grizzlies met the media, along with head coach Dave Yeager and general manager Chris Wallace.
We're pleased to introduce our 2014 draft choices. To my left here, Jordan Adams out of UCLA, and then Jarnell Stokes, our native Memphian at the University of Tennessee. These are 2 players that we got to know very well during the pre-draft process and grew really to like them more and more as the process wore on. They both are very accomplished college players from high-level programs, young men with a real passion for the game and strong character and players that we're just very excited not just to bring here today to Memphis, but to get them started in their journey as NBA players.
Jarnell is going to be able to come in and be an energy guy and a banger, but I think he's excited to show that he has more to his game than just being a rebounder, and we're going to work with his jump shot and stretch out his range a little bit and just teach him the game. A big part of his learning curve is going to be guarding stretch fours and playing and defending pick and rolls. And I think that with his athleticism and he's got good footwork, I think that's going to be something that he's going to be able to do, and that's going to where he's going to find his way onto the floor for us. And for Jordan, his ability to make shots on the perimeter is going to help us. I think his shot is going to get better and better. I like his form. We've done a lot of research and showed a lot of video. We take our shooting coach and we have him break everything down for each of these guys and all the draft guys. And I think you're looking at a guy who's going to shoot in the 40s from 3 before too long in his career, and I think that's positive. We love the way that he gets to the basket. He doesn't play around. He doesn't sit on the ball or be a ball stopper. He's a guy that gets to the foul line and draws fouls. So those are things that both these guys bring to the table that we need.
First off, I think this organization is a good organization. It's on the uprise. They made the playoffs last year. So, wherever I fit in, I'm going to come in trying to compete and, get them acclimated to the coaching staff, to the players, and just see where I fit in from the start.
Just want to fit in, find a niche, find something I can do well to help the team and stick with it. I think right now my biggest strength is rebounding, using my body, setting hard screens. So, just doing the small things right now to make a name for myself.
I think my game is a scoring, savvy player who shoot the ball really well. What I did to drop the weight, I just committed myself, got focused, realized this is a professional job now, so I dedicated that to just dropping my weight and trying to be the best I could be.
Junior year, senior year of high school, I was sitting in the nosebleeds and I was just watching every single thing the players do. I really like Zach Randolph. I really like how he uses leverage and how he's able just to find a way to make it happen when guys continuously doubt him. So, I definitely would love to learn from a guy like Zach Randolph. And, it's just surreal right now to be able to wear a Memphis jersey when I was just 2 or 3 years ago a fan.
Thing I need to work on, probably just becoming more athletic. I feel like the sky's the limit with that. I could just keep reaching and reaching. That's something I never really had. So I think working on that is just going to add to my game.
I always felt like I was better than what draft boards had me at, and I was able to have a lot of strong workouts. I was able to dominate players ahead of me. And I never really had any doubt that I'll end up in the NBA. It was just a matter of which team, had faith in me.
Of course, it's every player's dream to have their name announced on draft night. Unfortunately, only 60 do each year. Last year, following a stellar senior season at Memphis, DJ Stephens did not get drafted, but it was far from a complete surprise. DJ has seemingly been an underdog his whole life, but continues to find a way. Despite little interest from college basketball programs, he found a spot on the Memphis roster. Despite asthma, which affected his breathing and stamina, he went on to become a Tigers standout. And despite having little chance to play pro ball coming out of high school, he played his first year professionally in Greece and Turkey and even spent time with the NBA's Milwaukee Bucks. Today, one of the Tigers' all-time fan favorites and human highlight reel, DJ Stephens, joins me next on Sports Files. Hey, DJ, thanks for being with us.
I'm happy to be here. I appreciate you guys inviting me out, allowing me to come have a talk with you guys and just share my experience with you guys.
Good to see you again. All right, before we look back at your first year professionally and, of course, your great career at the University of Memphis, as we sit here today and do this interview, what are your prospects for this upcoming basketball season?
This upcoming season, I just plan on, right now I'm in between contracts, and right now I'm just trying to pick the situation that fits me best and makes the most sense for my situation. I'm not going to pursue the NBA or anything this year. I'm going to focus on all that next summer. So I'm kind of setting a plan in place for myself. But right now I'm just focusing on signing my contract to go back overseas and play next year.
Do you have a preference of what country, what league you want to play in?
I really don't have a preference. It's just as long as it's a good situation, living-wise, my environment's nice, and the numbers are right. I mean, I'm perfectly happy.
You're also rehabbing an injury. That's another reason why you're not going to play in the summer league.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily rehabbing an injury. I just had a slight bone bruise in my left ankle that it wasn't nothing serious or it wasn't anything major. It was just something that I just wanted to let heal, and I didn't want it to become like a nagging injury later on next year. So I just wanted to fully rest that and then come back 100% for next year.
You start out your professional career overseas in Greece. You were born in Germany. You've lived in Italy, so you have that experience of knowing what it's like to live overseas. But what was it like playing in the league with Greece?
It was different, and although I was born in Germany and I lived there for many years, and I lived in Italy many years. When I got on that plane by myself to go to Greece, it was a different experience for me because I had never been over there by myself.
Right.
And I was in charge of myself. And all the times I've been over there previously, I was with my parents and my family, so it was different. So it was a little nerve-wracking for me at first, but after being there a couple of days, I was perfectly fine. And it was a different experience for me. I learned a lot of things throughout my entire first year playing basketball. And it was a tough league. It's tougher for Americans because Americans don't tend to get calls. You tend to have to play through a lot more. But I feel like it made me grow as a basketball player, and it just taught me a lot more things.
What was the caliber of competition like in the Greek leagues?
I mean, after the first 2 or 3 top teams, all the teams are pretty much the same. Like any team could beat any team, and all teams are competitive because, of course, they're paying players to come play. So, I mean, all teams are competitive. All teams have good and great players. So, I mean, it was tough games for us night in, night out. And I wasn't fortunate enough to get on one of the top teams or better teams my first year. So it was really tough for me because we really had to play hard, and I was one of the players on the team that they really depended on. So I had a lot of weight on my shoulders to come play hard and just put up those stats night in, night out.
Had they seen a dunker like yourself before you hit the court there? You must have wowed the fans like you did here in the States.
I did. I don't know why people tend to like my dunks and my block shots and stuff like that, but of course.
Probably because you jump out of the gym. Literally, you jump out of the gym.
Yes, sir. And the people, they fell in love with me for that, and it was kind of cool to be in a foreign country, but to still be able to walk through the streets of Athens, Greece, and fans see you and they say your name and they get happy to see you, and it's the same way as it is here. I mean, not necessarily as many people know who you are, but for people to still know who you are and you're in a foreign country, that was still pretty cool for me.
So you play in Greece for about 5 months or so, and you get the call to go to the NBA with a 10-day contract with the Milwaukee Bucks, which, by the way, ironically has the Greek Freak, so they have a guy from Greece that plays on that team. But how did it work? How were you able to get out of the contract? And then tell me about that experience. Obviously, that's got to be the ultimate for any basketball players to play in the association.
Yes, sir. It was a very unique situation for me to be able to get out of my contract when me and you, we were talking about a buyout, but in my contract, I didn't even have a buyout in my contract. So we had to do something unique to where my team would allow me to get out of my contract. And once the Milwaukee Bucks called me, I put all that stuff into motion. My agent put all that stuff into motion, and I was able to get out of my contract. And I came back to the States, and I played with the Bucks. And it's crazy because it's like there's nothing like playing in the NBA. Like just being at that level, playing at that level is nothing like it.
Were there away games or did you have only home games? I can't recall the 10-day contract. Did you get a chance to go on the road with them?
Yes, sir. We had 2 home games and I think 3 road games. And we actually had 5 games in 10 days. So it was game, off day, game, off day. And it was crazy. Even on the off days, I mean, we still had active off days, but we didn't really do much because they play so many games. I mean, there's only so much you can do. But I thought we were taken care of, like, as far as traveling with Memphis and the things that we did at Memphis.
I was going to get to that.
But it's like a completely different level. And it's like, I thought all the hotels and the things that we stayed in when I was in college, I thought those hotels were nice, but it was like, I guess the NBA finds even nicer hotels. And just for me to be able to experience that and to be a guy that nobody ever thought would have played in the NBA and to be a guy that nobody would have ever thought I would even got significant and good minutes at the University of Memphis, and for me to be able to play at that highest level, I mean, it meant so much for me. But to me, I don't feel like I've fully accomplished anything because, yes, I could say I played in the NBA, but it was only for 10 days. I won't feel like I've really accomplished something until I ink a multi-year contract.
It was a taste of what it could be like later on in your career. And with that taste, you could see any player would want to drive harder and harder and harder to become a permanent fixture in the NBA. So I know that drive's there for you. We have seen you overcome so many obstacles. And it started in high school, as you said. Who knew what you were going to do at the University of Memphis? Because you weren't getting all these scholarship offers coming out of high school. And then you go to Memphis, and nobody expects much from you there. And then you overachieve there. And then nobody thought pro ball, and here you are, a professional baller. So I think you like the challenges, don't you?
I mean, I've been faced with challenges all my life. I've always been considered an underdog. I've always been the kid that everybody left out and kind of didn't pay much attention to. But even though people weren't always looking at me, I was still on the side doing my thing, making sure I was taking care of what I needed to get to where I wanted to. And then when the time came, I just tried to make the most of it. And then people were just like, "Oh, hey,
right, right.
Where did this kid come from?" But really, I've been there all along. Just like when I was at Memphis, and like my first 3 years, I mean, I didn't get much playing time, but my senior year, I got a lot of playing time.
And you took advantage of it.
People were just like, "Whoa, well, where did this DJ come from?" But if you actually look at like the previous years, I did similar stuff. I wasn't able to play consistent minutes, but my senior year, Coach Pastner, he gave me the opportunity, and I just made the most of it.
Real quick on Greece. You go from Greece to the NBA for 10 days, and now you need to find another team, and you end up in Turkey. How tough was that to go from, as you said, all-star living with the way they travel and the way they treat you in the NBA to now you're in Turkey? Was that tough to make that transition?
No, it wasn't tough at all, because actually the team that I went to in Turkey, that's one of the top teams in all of Europe. Like the situation, the budget that they have is multiple millions of dollars. Like I think their budget was like $17 million or something like that.
So the stint with the Bucks probably helped you with
yeah, it really
the
did.
gig
Like
in Turkey.
me having that NBA on my resume, that helped me out for then and for next year. Like the way everything pretty much works overseas is you have to build up and you have to take everything step by step. And when you go over there and you play in a good league and you put up pretty good numbers and you do this and that, it makes you credible, and then other teams will want you for the next year. And as long as you just continue to build and you don't have a decline or anything like that, you'll just continue to build throughout your career.
How have you been able to overcome the asthma?
I mean, I've just had to play through it. Playing overseas is a little different because they play a little slower paced basketball, and they don't even really let you fast break that much over there. Like they teach them to foul. If the other team's about to get a fast break opportunity, they foul in the open court. But in the NBA, you can't do that because it's a clear path foul or something like that. But playing in the NBA, I didn't play, like when I played, I didn't play that long. But watching the game, it looks like it's moving so much slower. But when I got out there, the game was moving so fast, I was tired in like the first 10 seconds that I was out there. And it was just, I mean, it was probably my nerves too. But just for me to be out there for that long, and I was winded. I was really winded.
You, I think most people would say, overachieved at Memphis, or maybe the true DJ Steffens came out that senior year. But as a team, did you guys underachieve?
Underachieve. I'm not sure if that's a good word. I guess.
Should you have gone further? Should you have won more games in the tournament?
Yes, sir. I feel like all those teams that we had, they were great teams. We had great players. We had what it took to go as far as we wanted to. We probably could have won a national championship. But it's just, I don't know. It was just some days it was there, some days it wasn't. We didn't always put forth 100% effort at all times. But I mean, with all the troubles and the trials of life, and you're in school and you're doing this and that, I mean, it's tough to always give 100% no matter what. But I mean, we could have done more. I mean, you look back and you look at things, you always say you could have done more. You always see what you could have done when you pass the situation. They always say hindsight is 20/20, and that's true.
Josh Pastner calls you one of the 5 greatest Tigers. He's taken everything into consideration. The love affair that the fans have for you, and a lot of that is because you're a Skywalker with those dunks. People love the dunks. What about that compliment that Josh has given you?
I mean, it definitely means a lot. It's kind of weird when you hear somebody say something like that, especially about me, because I mean, I feel like I accomplished a lot, but I don't feel like I accomplished enough to be considered one of the top 5 greatest Tigers of all time. But I feel like, okay, if you said I was one of the top 5 most beloved Tigers of all time, then that would make more sense to me.
And that's what I think he's getting at. I mean, obviously, it was a sensational senior season with highlight. Your dunks were on ESPN SportsCenter all the time. But like you said, the first 3 years, you played sparingly. You finally were able to have a chance to blossom. You did your senior year. And I think that's what Josh is referring to. People just fell in love with you. What do you think, and give me a short answer to this, what do you think you can accomplish the rest of your professional career? Can you get back to the NBA and play significantly in that league?
I definitely feel like I can. I just have to continue to work on little things, my offense, my ball handling, my shooting, work on my defense. But I definitely feel like I have all the tools that it takes to play in the NBA. And many people have told me that. NBA scouts have told me that. NBA coaches have told me that. NBA GMs have told me that. So for all those people to tell me that, I definitely feel like I can. And even before they told me that, I still felt like I could. Now, at times, I might have doubted myself because of certain situations that I was in, but I definitely feel like I can.
All right, DJ, you're off the hot seat, but we still have something to do. It's called 5 for the Road. I wrap up every interview I do with 5 questions. I want the first thing that comes to mind to answer these questions. The first is, what's your favorite professional sports team?
My favorite professional sports team, the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, you're a Texas guy. Favorite professional athlete of all time?
Favorite professional athlete of all time? I guess I would have to say LeBron James.
Okay. If it was a football player, who would you pick, since you love the Cowboys so much?
Emmitt Smith.
Okay. Music. We see you with the headphones. What do you listen to? What's your favorite music or musician or genre of music?
I listen to everything, but my favorite genre would probably be rap or hip hop.
Is there a specific song or artist that fires you up before you go take the court?
I listen to so much music. It's
Just
tough
all
to say
a
that.
variety?
Yes, sir.
Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? I definitely have to say either the Fast and the Furious series.
Okay.
I can't pick a favorite out of that.
Well, there's 6 of them?
There's like 6 of them. Matter of fact, there might be like 7 or 8, but I like that series and the Transformers series as well.
Okay.
But I like all Marvel comics movies that they come out with. Those
Like
are
all that superhero stuff?
Yes, sir.
Finally, your favorite television show?
My favorite television show, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Really?
Yes,
How about
sir.
something current?
Current.
What do you watch?
My favorite TV show. I don't really watch too much TV.
You don't watch too much TV, huh?
Because when I'm overseas, I'm not able to.
That's true.
So it's tough. But I try to keep up with everything over here as much as I can. So I guess I have to say SportsCenter.
Hey, DJ, continued success. We're rooting for you. Thank you so
sir.
much for your time.
I appreciate you guys
it.
having me.
DJ Steffens. We'll take a break. Overtime is coming up next. The U.S. men's soccer team wrapped up their run in the World Cup this past Tuesday when they were eliminated by Belgium 2-1 in overtime. The Stars and Stripes making consecutive trips to the knockout round for the first time in their World Cup history. The round of 16 loss was disappointing, but the performance in the tournament by Coach Jurgen Klinsmann and his team was anything but. And unquestionably, the tremendous effort by the U.S. unified a nation. Watch parties were happening all over this great country of ours, including right here in Memphis.
I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win! I believe that we will win!
Every 4 years, a lot of folks come out. It's great to see. I love it. I love the sport year-round, so it's awesome to see people come out and support it. But this World Cup does seem like it's even better, bigger. I think the sport's really growing, so it's awesome, man. It's so much fun.
Have you ever seen such a big turnout for a sports game, especially soccer?
Yeah, well, I've seen previous World Cups, 06, 2010, tremendous response, but the particular response to the 2014 World Cup is probably unprecedented and might lead to a breakout in soccer nationwide.
Do you think that the U.S. soccer team will go all the way this World Cup?
Oh, yeah, they will, for sure. Oh, yeah.
What do you think of the Belgian team?
The Belgian team, they're very good. They got a bunch of international players that are real good.
Now, Ann Coulter, a columnist and frequent TV commenter, said that soccer fans are leaving America into moral decay. How do you feel about this statement?
I don't agree with that statement at all. This is everybody else in the world plays soccer. It's a beautiful game, and I think this World Cup has brought America together, and we're all behind USA right now, so totally disagree with what Ann Coulter has to say.
She doesn't sound very American to me.
How do you think America's going to do in today's game?
Well, coming in, I thought it'd be 50-50. It'd be a toss-up. Anybody could win. So, right now it's looking like that still because it's 0-0 at halftime. But, one of our best players, Josie Altidore, is out right now, and we're really hurting on the striking end. So we need to put him in at halftime probably. And if we do that, then we'll maximize our chance to win.
I think they're playing okay. I've seen them play better in the World Cup so far. We have a chance to make it, but I have my concerns. We have not yet scored.
Nothing like a sense of pride and allegiance to your country. Well done, Memphis. And it doesn't hurt when you have an additional rooting interest in superstar goalkeeper Tim Howard, a part-time resident of Germantown. He was simply sensational. And that'll do it for now. Next week, we'll talk more World Cup soccer with former U.S. national player and now head coach of the Memphis Tigers men's soccer team, Richard Mulrooney. Until then, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.
Production funding for Sports Files is made possible in part by
Infinity of Memphis has moved to Germantown Road, just half-mile north of Wolf Chase Galleria, and is proud to support WKNO for its quality broadcasting and service to our community. Quality and service? No wonder Infinity of Memphis feels at home on WKNO.